Yeah, the maximum damage starts right down here at 635.
Well, about 3:50, there was a loud crash of lightning, which woke me up. Probably 5 minutes after that, there's just all kinds of noise, all kinds of wind. And having grown up in Oklahoma, I thought it might have been a tornado at first, but I didn't hear the familiar freight train noise.
Boys, you can see it did a lot of damage.
It was a storm packing winds over 70 miles an hour.
It looks like a tornado. It's got a straight line here with maximal damage going from the southwest to the northeast. And the damage starts down here right around Olympic Boulevard and goes all the way across the Valley Ranch area.
It took out utility poles down a stretch of Beltline and it hit residents hard.
We've had tremendous amount of large, very large trees down in the roadways, roofs blown off, air conditioners blown off, canopies, brick walls blown down, chimneys blown down.
The calls started coming into the police and fire departments as soon as it hit.
The power went out at 3:30. Most of the chiefs were on scene a little bit after 4, and we had crews out there working from 3:30 on.
The city sprang into action. First, police and fire. They needed manpower and a lot of it. For fire,
well, we've got an entire shift of people working throughout the city. And so that's going to be about 70, and then we've probably got another 20 in on overtime, so there's probably 90 firefighters.
Once it was daylight, firefighters were dispatched to apartment buildings and homes to patch roofs that might leak and also to stabilize structures at risk of collapsing. But before the sun came up,
the power was out in a lot of the areas. We had trees down, and it was black, and the trees were black laying across the roadway, and you wouldn't be aware of them until you were right up on them. So we spent a lot of time cutting the trees and pulling things out of the roadway.
As for the police,
of course, they're all over the city again working on things. What the police officers have been doing is they've been going through the apartment complexes, particularly right now, and they're our eyes. They're the ones that are reporting back to us and telling us this roof is off, that here's an unsafe area. So they've been doing a lot of work for us on that.
And to keep it all running smoothly,
what we try to do in any type of emergency, but the bigger it is, the more important it is, that we set up a command center. We use the National Incident Management System, and what we do is we get all of the departments. We have a unified command, and all the departments send a representative here.
The trees landed on my roof, and there's one in my backyard still there, and I heard all these chainsaws going on this morning. Looked outside, there's people standing in my yard. Fire department was there, which is pretty good because they responded at 4:30 this morning. Shortly after that, crews come out and started cleaning everything up.
Right now what we're doing is our guys, along with the street department guys, are in sanitation. They're going street to street, cutting the trees that need to be cut, putting them and stacking them at the curb so we can come by with the grade all and the dump trucks and pick up.
The street, water, and sanitation departments were all out doing everything they could to make storm cleanup easier on residents. The street department mapped out areas with the most damage, then sent teams to go street by street to trim trees and clear debris. Canadace says the water department doesn't usually cut trees, but when disaster strikes, they want to do anything they can to make sure the residents are happy. So the first thing he did when he got to work was call the street department to see if they could use a little help.
We look at it as if it's not just us or them. To me, we're all one. So whenever the street department needs help, then we're there to help him. And if we need help, him and his employees are there to help us.
You couldn't see that whole half of that house 15 minutes ago. They came in about 15, 20 guys, and within 15 minutes, I just can't say enough about these guys. The city should be commended.
And apparently residents are happy with the results.
When you look at what they've done in this short amount of time and how nice they were about it, I mean, I'm just floored. I lived in Florida for 10 years and have been involved with some hurricane things and stuff, and you know, it could take you weeks to get response.
Montenegro says he didn't even call them.
When I got out here, they were already around, and they just worked their way up and down the block, and I just can't say enough good things.
Resident Robert Taylor feels the same way.
You got to commend the city for coming out in more than a timely fashion and getting their job done and taking care of the residents here in the valley.
He doesn't know what he would have done if it weren't for the city.
Well, I had a car that was sitting in front of my house, and when I walked outside, the fire department was out there with the chainsaws. I couldn't see my car because it was covered in branches, and it literally took the fire department to get 30 minutes to clean all the debris off the car so I could move it.
He's even been through tornadoes before, and he's amazed by the city's response.
Growing up in Oklahoma, it'd take them sometimes days to get some of those places, but I've never seen a city respond so quickly. And again, my hat's off to them.
But city leaders say it's all part of the job.
Our goal is to make safe everything, cover over whatever we can. We know that the public is safe, and so what we're doing is we're making the building safe and limit property damage.